My name's Nupe. I'm here with Overland Vehicle Systems, and what I want to talk to you guys about is our new two-way and four-way OVS inflate and deflate system. So what we're going to go through is basically a unboxing just to show you guys what's inside the box, and then I'll talk to you guys about how you guys can use it, how it's going to be compatible with our other up-down air systems, and just basically just give you an overall walkthrough. All right, we're going to open this box up, and just to give you guys an understanding of how it looks as far as presentation when you take it out of the box. So it looks like it's in obviously a nice ballistic bag that's going to hold all the items in here. So as we open this up, oops, you are going to see one of the hoses, second set of the hoses, the manifold that goes along with it, and in this we actually also include a NATO to US fitting. So this is going to come in handy for some of those, obviously our own EGOI 5.6 CFM compressor, but as well as those other aftermarket compressors that will allow you to fit this manifold into the NATO fitting that comes onto those compressors. In a little bit I'll show you how that's going to work, but for the time being we're going to talk about this manifold and how it correlates and works with the two sets of hoses. So the manifold is aluminum. It's got your brass quick connects on here. It's got a open and close slide, and it's got your digital gauge on here. We have your dual splitting hoses and brass fittings and quick connect chuck for the air stem or the air valves. Now, just to give you some understanding of the length of this, so overall from this end to this end is 26 and a half feet. From this end to the actual T-fitting, you're looking at about 13 and some change. This fitting to the T-fitting, it's 3.5 foot length. Earlier we talked about the NATO fitting adapter that we include with our inflate and deflate system. So I wanted to show you with our current 5.6 compressor, which is tried and true, the fitting that is different than most US fittings. And so basically you take one end of the fitting, the NATO fitting, plug it in to here, locked on, and then you tie this into the manifold right here, which is the US fitting. And so basically you have a full unit that works with that adapter. Now that I talked to you guys about the fitting that comes with the deflate and inflate system, I'll talk to you guys how this would work right out of the box if you guys had a compressor such as our single or dual motor digital compressors with a US fitting. So basically all you'd have to do, take this out of the bag, got your compressor, and take this fitting and right into the manifold, and there you go. Now we're going to show you how to connect your inflate and deflate system up to the tires and up to the manifold. So in this instance, what we're going to do is deflate first. So traditionally you don't need your compressor to hook this up since it has this open and close valve. What we're going to do is keep this valve closed, hook up the actual first connector into the quick connect like this, and then what you'll do is basically just make sure that your air chuck is open in this form, put it on there like that, and close it up, and there you go. And what we're going to do is just go around and connect this to the rear, and then on the other side as well. Now we'll hook up this driver side, same way that we did on passenger side. This fitting goes into the quick connect, just like that. Put this back into the air valve stem, close it up like that, and proceed to the rear. All right, so earlier we showed you a picture of the inside digital gauge on the PSI for all 4 tires. So basically what this system does is basically equalize all the air pressure and monitors right through this digital gauge. So I believe on the average it was about 40 and 41. So this is basically telling me that it's at 40 right now for each tire. Basically deflate it from 40 to 25, and these tires are 38 by 1350 on 17s. So here we go. So as you're going through this and it's releasing the air, I just want you guys to understand that the amount of air that's being released is only allowable by the valve stems on your tires. So what we'll do right now is just basically just to give a quick check and see what it is. I don't see much PSI being let out, but we'll just take a look. So I usually give it a few seconds just to, like I said, equalize on the air pressure and just to give you an overall of where it's at. So obviously we just lost 5 PSI in those few seconds, but we're gonna get down to 25 as I stated. All right, and just for sanity purposes, we're gonna check it again. All right, and we're just gonna check it again. All right, so a little bit more than 25, but like I said, we'll just let it equalize and see what it's at. All right, so now we're gonna inflate these tires back up to the 40 pounds of PSI. So what you're gonna do is just take your our digital air compressor, hook it up to this fitting, like that. I'm gonna set this on the ground for now. And while that's still reading pressure, I'm gonna set the digital compressor up to 40. So as you go through this, right now it's at 25, I'm gonna set it up to 40 like I said. So once it's set at 40, I'm gonna go into the vehicle, turn the engine on, because that's you want the engine on when you hit the compressor, and then we'll start the compressor and then go from there. All right, so once I've got the engine on, before turning on the compressor, you want to put this valve on the open position, so you want the air to be pushed in through all the hoses. So you'll understand that you've obviously got continuous pressure equalized from the gauge itself, but then you'll notice that up on the gauge, you will see it telling you the pressure of the tires as well. So here I'm going to start it out, and like I said, I set up the pressure at PSI at 40 pounds. All right, so the compressor just stopped at 40, and so we checked our other digital gauge and it's showing the same thing. So what we're gonna do now is basically disconnect the compressor from the battery. I can turn off the car if I want, but then disconnect the hoses from each tire. And then once we're done with that, put the valve cap steps on and roll the units back up into its bag. All right, we're just gonna show you how to disconnect the air chuck from the valve stem. All you're doing is basically just pulling on this and pulling it off. Simple as that.